So guys, today on Sports Central, we're going to be going over a college football game preview, and this one's going to be over the 2019 college football playoff Peach Bowl between the number 1 LSU Tigers and number 4 Oklahoma. Should be a really interesting one here. Of course, LSU is heavily favored in this game right now, but I think it could be much closer than what people are expecting. That's what we're going over here in this video. Previous game for both these teams, LSU beat number 4 they beat number 4 Georgia 37-10. Then Oklahoma beat number 7 Baylor 30-23, and that was an overtime game in the Big 12 championship game. Some key stats from that game. LSU, of course, Joe Burrow, we all know him, 28 for 38, 349 yards, and 4 touchdowns, so a phenomenal performance by him there. And for Oklahoma, Jalen Hurts was 17 for 24, 287 yards, and 1 touchdown along with that. This game's going to be on Saturday, December 28th, 4 p.m. Eastern Time in Atlanta, Georgia. Spread currently says LSU by 13.5, so it's really heavily favoring LSU here with the spread. That's one of the more spread out spreads of the bowl season. I mean, we've seen a couple of ones, especially like UCF and Marshall and what's the other one? Appalachian State and UAB. They've been like 15 or 16 points for the spread, but this is pretty spread out for a college football playoff game. ESPN FPI is saying LSU as well, 67%, and then Vegas is saying a blowout by LSU, 48-34. Stat comparison for this one as well. LSU is getting 47.8 points per game. That is an outstanding stat there. 21.2 points allowed per game. They also get 386 pass yards per game. Of course, with Joe Burrow, that's expected. 187 rush yards per game. And they allowed 221 pass yards and 119 rush yards a game. So they got a really, really good rushing defense there. Record going into this one, 13-0 for Oklahoma. They got 43.2 points per game. 24.5 points allowed per game, 303 pass yards per game, 251 rush yards, and then they allowed 198 pass yards and 132 rush yards a game. Oklahoma is 12-1 coming into this one, and of course, I mean, LSU is in a better conference, so you have to consider that as well. They are in the SEC, and I believe that the Big 12 is probably, if you think I'm wrong, go ahead and state your opinion in the comments below, but I think the Big 12 is probably the worst Power 5 conference here this season. I mean, Oklahoma is obviously good. I mean, they're in the college football playoffs, so that's pretty obvious. But I mean, Texas has been a big letdown. Baylor's been pretty good. But overall, I mean, there aren't all that great of teams in the Big 12 here this year. But nonetheless, here's our previous 5 games for both these teams. Of course, LSU, once again, they did beat Georgia in the SEC championship. They actually blew them out by 27. That's a statement right there. They also beat Texas A&M 50-7. Beat up Arkansas 56-20, beat up Ole Miss 58-37. Then they had that signature win against number 3 Alabama at the time, 46-41. As for Oklahoma, they beat Baylor in the Big 12 championship once again, 30-23. They also beat Oklahoma State, who was ranked 21st at the time, 34-16. So yeah, that's a good win there. They also beat TCU by 4, 28-24. But you also got to consider, would LSU beat TCU by only 4? And Oklahoma, I mean, they beat TCU by only 4, so you got to consider that into making a prediction for this. But yeah, they also beat Baylor, so they beat Baylor twice this season, 34-31. That was the first time. And then they beat Iowa State by 1, 42-41. You also got to consider, would LSU beat Iowa State by only 1 as well? So obviously the LSU is clearly the better team right now. For some key points, LSU's been extremely dominant, no doubt about that. Oklahoma has had some closer wins, so that's a little bit concerning. Both teams do have great quarterbacks, obviously. I mean, Jalen Hurts, who was at Alabama last season, moving over to Oklahoma, he's done a great job at Oklahoma this year, for sure. I mean, then Joe Burrow, of course, he won the Heisman just last week, so, I mean, he's going to be steamrolling into this game, I'm sure. LSU's played better teams, obviously. I mean, they've got more experience. They're in a better conference. But Oklahoma has not won a college football playoff game yet. I saw a stat. I think they've played, or this is their 3rd college football playoff game. They were also in it last year, and then I think they played Clemson one year. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, Oklahoma, they have not yet won a college football playoff game. They could be 0-3 in CFP games if they lose this one here. But how would each team win? Honestly, if LSU gets out early, I think if they can get 2 to 3 touchdowns up on Oklahoma early on in the game, this game could be easily sold to LSU. As far as it goes for Oklahoma, you got to stick with LSU. You cannot let them get away from you, or else it could get ugly. But yeah, for Oklahoma, I think they get a chance. I genuinely do. I mean, Oklahoma's played pretty well in big games, such as their 2 Baylor games, the Oklahoma State one. Oklahoma's looked pretty good in those games. So if they can play that way against LSU, play up to their competition, obviously Oklahoma could be a threat here in this one. But here's my prediction. I think that LSU just fires away and they end up getting the win. I don't see Oklahoma winning this one. I think it's possible. I mean, by any means. I mean, it's college football, so anything's possible. But I think LSU wins this one by a score of 42-30. Your halftime score will be 28-27 or 28-17. Sorry. And yep, your final, they are going to win by 12, 42-30. So I mean, it's kind of more the same as to what other people are predicting. I'm not going to predict anything crazy here. From what I'm saying, I mean, most people are saying LSU, and I agree with that 100%. I think LSU with Joe Burrow and that ecstatic offense, Edwards-Helaire running back. I think this team is just they're going to be really, really tough to beat. And I think that once they get to the national championship, I mean, that could be when we could see LSU go down. But I mean, in this case, I think they beat Oklahoma pretty good. I think just Oklahoma being in the Big 12, I mean, the Big 12 is not good enough. And I mean, looking at how Oklahoma's played pretty close to Iowa State, and they've also played close to TCU and some other teams, that concerns me a little bit. I think LSU blow all of those teams out of the water. So yeah, I think LSU overall is the better team. They get it done in this one, 42-30. Yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts though on this game in the comments below. Do you think that Oklahoma can pull the upset? Obviously, it's a big pull to say that Oklahoma's going to win this one. But I'd really like to hear your guys' opinions on that. Let me know your score predictions as well. And yeah, once again, thank you guys all for watching. Stay tuned for more bowl previews coming up soon. We got the Clemson and Ohio State preview coming up later tonight, so that should be exciting. Thank you guys all for watching once again, and I will see you all later.